The other day, I was sitting in my chair, writing the list of tasks that I needed to get done that day. I looked over at my wife and children, curious as to what they were doing. The reason for my curiosity was due to the high excitement that I could feel radiating from my children and how engaged they all were. I noticed that my wife is working with my children, logging all their reading hours that they've had this spring and summer. The children stood there, their chests puffed out, proud of their accomplishments. I thought to myself, damn, look at my wife. Look how good of a leader my wife is. Of course, I tell her that a few hours later in the day, and she denies herself the title of being a leader. She tells me that I'm the leader of our home and that she's not a leader. Now, I understand that sentiment from her, but I'm also going to tell you that she's dead wrong, y'all. We all can be leaders, and many of us are leading without even realizing it, just like my wife. You don't need to have a title to lead. You simply need to lead. Now, we're going to dive into that here in just a moment, but first, let me introduce myself. My name is Steve Baumgartner, and I'm your host and founder of the Fire Forge Leader podcast. And my mission here today, and the mission of this podcast, is to serve you through providing knowledge, tools, and resources around leadership strategies on three primary battlefronts. Those battlefronts are simply out in the workplace, in your community, and most importantly, with your own family. Now let's get to work.
Leaders are not born in a womb. They are forged through heat, pressure, and a whole lot of sweat. The Fire Forge Leader podcast serves the audience through exploring leadership at work, in the community, and with the family, using a practical perspective and real-life experiences from the host, Steve Baumgartner, and his guests in the Forge. Now, it's time to enter the Forge with the Fire Forged Leader.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fire Forge Leader podcast. Today we're diving deep into a powerful topic. This topic is about how leadership isn't just reserved for those with fancy titles or high-ranking positions. It's a quality that resides in each and every one of us, and it's waiting to be nurtured and expressed. So let's explore what it means to be a leader in our everyday lives and how we can harness this potential to make a positive impact. Leadership is often misunderstood as being synonymous with authority or control, but that can be farther from the truth. True leadership is about influence, inspiration, and impact. It's about setting an example through our actions. It's about showing empathy and about empowering others to reach their full potential. It's not confined to boardrooms or political arenas. It's woven into the fabric of our daily interactions. More leaders are born in living rooms than they are in boardrooms. Now, let me get back to that story with my wife and children for a minute. I told you about how they were logging their reading. They were going through stacks of books, and these books were from the library. They were some from our own personal shelves. As I stated, the children were beaming. They were proud of their accomplishments. As they looked over at me, I gave them a smile and a nod of approval. Now, here's the parts that I didn't tell you. This is something that they really started in the spring, and it was very intentional. My wife sat down with them and she explained the vision of how she wanted them to grow in their reading skills. She painted a picture of why she wanted everybody to grow in these skills. She plotted a course with them. She described to them how the method of tracking was going to work and the incentives along the way that they would receive from meeting their goals. She worked with them to set these goals. Now, this logging she was doing at the time was her tracking toward those goals and using visual metrics through the sticker chart she was using. She was bringing them together to view and understand these metrics. They were also being recognized by herself and myself as they were working through these sticker charts. They were tracking their milestones. They were celebrating success along the way. So let's break this down a bit. If you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you probably already know where I'm going with this one, right? So what did my wife really do with this reading challenge? She cast a vision. She painted a picture of where my children were versus where they were going. She explained the mission and she built out excitement around it. She helped my children develop personal goals that actually mattered to them. She helped them understand the daily tactics necessary to meet the goals. She developed a measurement to help them understand where they are in process towards their own goals. And then she recognized the achievements and built excitement around it. And then this point couldn't be more important. She involved them as a team. Now tell me, how is that not leadership? That is everything that we talk about. Now, to quote a friend of mine and an international leadership coach, Drew Dudley states, "You have made someone's life better by something you said or did." And if you think leadership is something bigger than that, then you're just letting yourself off the hook. In this case, my wife was letting herself off the hook. As parents, we lead our children by teaching them values. We lead them by guiding them through challenges. And we also teach them through nurturing their growth. As friends, we lead by offering support. We lead when we give advice. And we also lead when we are companions. In our workplaces, of course, we lead through collaboration. We share knowledge and we foster positive environments. Now, I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about the people in your life who have made a significant impact on you. It could be a teacher who encouraged you when you doubted yourself. It could be a friend who stood by you during tough times. Or it could even be a colleague who mentored you in your career. Now, these individuals might not hold formal leadership positions, but their influence has shaped who you are today. Now, I have a couple of really good examples in my own life, and I want to bring one of them up today. John Ross who you've probably heard me talk about before. He was a person who believed in me more than I ever believed in myself at the time. And I want to tell you that through this, I wanted to achieve more because I wanted to please him. And through that experience, I became more, or I realized more about myself. Our actions, no matter how small or insignificant that they seem to us, they can have a profound impact on everybody else around us. When we demonstrate kindness, when we demonstrate integrity, when we demonstrate resilience, we also inspire others to do the same. And that creates a ripple effect that can spread far beyond our immediate circle. Each of us has a power inside of us. We have a power to contribute to a culture of positivity and growth simply by embodying the qualities we admire in others. Now, I want to talk about this ripple effect for a minute. And I'm going to mention another friend of mine, Ben Owen. Ben Owen does some amazing works in Memphis, Tennessee. But there are hundreds of thousands of people who follow Ben Owen because of this ripple effect. He demonstrates kindness. He demonstrates integrity. He demonstrates resilience. He's generous with his scars. He's able to meet people where they're at and inspire them for greatness. And that creates this ripple effect that I'm talking about. All right, so let's talk about some things so that you can embrace your leadership potential even when you don't think you're a leader. The first thing that I would start with is self-awareness. Understand your strengths. Understand your weaknesses. But most importantly, understand your values. Those are going to be the things that you pass along to others. Your strengths, you can build upon. Your weaknesses, you can learn with someone and be humble. And your values, that should go without saying. Reflect on how your actions align with your principles. The second thing I want to talk about is empathy. And this is something that I seek to improve on every day. Some of it goes back to my childhood, and I won't get into that right now. But empathy is something that's hard for Steve. But the things that I try and do is practice active listening and trying to understand other people's perspectives more. I try and show compassion, and I try and give support when other people around me need it. Like I said, this is something hard for me, but it's so vitally important in leadership. Responsibility. This is something that 99% of our population has an issue with. Responsibility. We always want to take the easy road out and blame someone else for our actions. But what we really need to do is take ownership of our own actions and ownership of the impact of our actions. And when we do this, we can lead by example, we hold ourselves accountable, and other people start doing it too. Now, something cool, and Jocko focuses in on this a lot. When we take accountability, what we do is we give ourselves the power to change the outcome. If we blame someone else is responsible for the outcome. How does that give us any power? When we take ownership, the power is all ours to change the outcome. I want you to continuously learn, all right? Continuously strive to improve yourself. That comes with embracing feedback from your peers, from the people who follow you, and the people that you follow. Embrace that feedback and be open to new ideas and experiences from that feedback. And then I want you to empower those around you, encourage and uplift those people who follow you, those people who are in your peer circle. Recognize their potential and also help them achieve their goals. So to wrap this all up today, I want you to remember that leadership is not a title. It's not a position. It's simply a mindset and a way of life. Each of us has the potential to be a leader in our own unique way. By embracing our ability to influence and inspire, we can create a positive impact in our communities, our workplaces, and in our families. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the Fire Forge Leader podcast. I'm Steve Baumgartner once again, and I hope today's episode has inspired you to recognize and nurture that leader who's within you. Until next time, keep leading with heart and keep making a difference in the world around you. Go out there and start living that leadership life. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review on whatever podcasting app you're currently listening to. And last but not least, share it with other people who might benefit from this message. You can also follow us on social media for more insights and inspiration on leadership and personal growth. On almost every platform, you can find me at Fire Forge Leader. Remember, everyone's a leader. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
You have just experienced the heat and pressure of the forge. Remember, words without action are meaningless. Now, after the heat of the forge, shape your thoughts, quench your brain, then put your new tools to use, adding to your leadership. Tune in next week for more lessons from the forge.